Welcome to the first video Zoom conference call with one of our coaches from Farmington FC. So I want to welcome Ian McDiarmid, the coach of the under-15s and also the first team coach of the Prem team. So Ian, thanks very much for being the guinea pig today. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm very well, Ryan. Thanks very much for having us on. Had a wee cheeky week off this week. Weather's been excellent, so it was a good week to take off, actually.
Yeah. No, it's been unprecedented times, really, and it's been a big challenge for us all at Farmington, especially in the Prem team and, our youth team players. So basically why we want to do this podcast is to catch up with our youth team coaches and see exactly what they've been doing during these times. So got a few questions for you. So hopefully you're prepared and ready to answer them as best you can. But we'll start off with just tell us a bit about your coaching journey and what brought you to Farmington.
Well, I first started here at the club this would have been my sixth season. Did 5 full seasons starting off at the under-11s. I was brought to the club obviously by my daughter. She was training with the young ones at the time. At the time I was actually coaching an amateur team up in Kirriemuir. I actually had stopped coaching and they were looking for a coach that season, and of course I stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, it's usually the way it is, huh? Usually the way it is. Your daughter's playing, she gets involved, and then you get tasks with asking to come on board because you've got that footballing background.
Oh, exactly. I had decided I was basically going to be giving up coaching. I was going along to watch my daughter. I hadn't watched her any time at all because of my own commitments with the amateur team. Went along to their first game under 11. As a parent, stood on the sideline and they were hammered 23-0. I remember it vividly. And I remember players going off the pitch crying. The goalkeeper walked off because she was so upset with letting in so many goals. And I went home that night and I felt so sorry for them. I thought, I've got to help here. I've got to help them out.
Yeah, and the rest is history, really, because your team now, and my short time at the club, your team now has been one of the most successful ones in recent seasons. Would that be correct?
Yeah, with the kind of really started off with, as I say, with the under-11s. We had 2 full seasons at under-11s, 7 aside. At the start, it was all about improving, having some fun, getting better, which we did in the 2 seasons. I kept the same nucleus of the squad. I had about 10 players, kept them all going. And then we moved up to under 13, which was then serious. It was competitive nature. We had the referees. It was a league table. There was cup competitions. We were entered into the Scottish Cup. And the club then decided they wanted to go down the performance route. They wanted to have a team that would be able to go through the youth ages and then provide players for the Premiership team. So we recruited from within the club for the 13s and we recruited outside the club as well. Probably in my time, the first time that an under 13 team had actually recruited out with the club, which was met upon with, let's just say, some people weren't happy about it. Some people thought that we should just be catering for the girls in Forfar. Some other clubs thought it was terrible what we were doing, but that was the decision we took at that time.
Yeah.
And then we had 2 seasons at 13s and then on to the 15s. At the 13 season, the first season was absolutely a great season. It was competitive. We didn't win many games, but we were ultra competitive. We had shoved girls up who could still be playing under 11, and we were playing. Some of the girls were 2 and 3 years older than us, but we were only getting beat by the odd goal. So I knew then at that season that the following season we would have a chance of winning a few things.
Yeah, and I suppose that's very, very important what you've touched on. I was actually just listening to a podcast this morning with one of the directors in the Belgian FA, and they were talking about the view of development at 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old, and maybe even bringing it up to the 14, 15-year-old of the performance side. So they reckon that we shouldn't be keeping tables, we shouldn't be keeping scores, and we should just be letting the kids play it for that love of the game at 11 and 12, 13 years of age. And then once we go to 14, 15, then we start introducing the performance aspect of obviously trying to train to win and, keeping tables and who scores the most goals and all that. So what would your view on that be on, Ian? What's your view on development versus winning, I guess?
I definitely think under 11s, it's a fun aspect of the game. Can we coach in some of the basics, the passing, the movement, the possession of the ball, and going out and having fun. At the under 11 age, I was definitely about fun. I didn't care if we got beat. I didn't care if we won, drew. As long as the girls were happy and had a good game and were going home happy, I was happy. Then at the under 13, we did start to become competitive. Mm-hmm. You actually seen at the end of the under 11s, you seen the competitive nature. Once they won one game, they were wanting to win another game.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should be kicking that out of the players.
Yeah.
At 13s, they were really competitive. They wanted to win every game. Yeah. And I wouldn't have kicked that out of them. I didn't try to kick it out of them.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't think you can take out the nature of the beast, Ian, of winning or scoring goals at any age group, because I think what's the point of playing football? The football pitch is a big rectangular pitch with 2 goals, and whoever scores the most goals obviously wins. That's how the game's played. So whether you're 7, 8, 9, 10 or you go on into the performance aspect of it, that those permutations of the goals are still there. So the nature of the beast for any kid is to win, and they're not stupid. Kids are very, very clued in when it comes to that. But I think making it fun, and hitting those fundamentals of dribbling the ball, passing the ball at that a young age, but making them fall in love with the sport. And it's obviously clear of your time at Farmington, that you've hit those bullet points or that criteria with those girls. They've stayed involved with the game, and they've followed you up through right now to U15. And unfortunately, I guess we do lose some of the players as well, whether they go to other teams. And how do we sell our club, for example? Why would you come to Farmington, and what do we have to offer, as a youth team coach, if you were trying to sign a player?
When I came to Farmington, I actually knew absolutely zero about the club, because I was focused on my own coaching at men's football at amateur level. I was really busy with that. I didn't even think about coming into the girls' game, to be perfectly honest. It was only, as I say, my daughter brought me into it. When I came back in, when I did come into the club, I had researched a little bit. I had seen how successful the club had been. They got to a Scottish Cup final. I think it was the previous year before I came. They'd won another few other cup competitions. Had done well in the Premier League. Had never been out of the Premier League actually. So that was something that I brought to the table when I tried to sign players. I tried to say that it doesn't matter how young you are. If you're spotted, you will get a shot with the Prem team. You will be able to train with the Prem team. We will try to promote you up. So if you're too good for it, under 13, it's not challenging you. We will try to push you up to under 15 or under 17 or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So I tried to use that as a tool when I was speaking to players or parents, and they were quite happy with that. They thought, yeah, my girl would like to be involved in that. So that was kind of one of the reasons.
Yeah. Oh no, I think again, my short time at the club, it has a lot of selling points. It's a very family based club. It's got a lot of good people involved in the club. and the way the game's going. I mean, you have talked about it off camera, I guess, numerous times. You know, the way the game's going, it's a great opportunity for the likes of the young girls coming through now to believe in their dreams and actually aim to be a professional football player to represent their country, whether that be Scotland, Northern Ireland, or whoever it may be. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. Over the last, since probably the World Cup, the Women's World Cup, when Scotland qualified and did quite well in a few of the games, I have said to them, there's going to be a boom time in the women's football. This is your chance. If you're good enough, you're going to progress on. You're going to get pushed through the ranks. Try to get into our team for the start. Some of the other bigger teams may well see you, the Glasgow Cities, the Celtic, the Rangers, and then down south as well. With that, Premier League down south is obviously massive now. Some of the girls did see that as an opportunity. They thought, yes, I want to be a footballer. I want to play for Man City. One of them has actually said to me, they want to play for Man City. Yeah. So they know they have to work hard. They know that if they do work hard, the benefits will come. They are trying to get in the 15s performance team now. They want to be involved with the Premier team. They want to be involved with the training. They want to be seen. They want to aim to push to play in that team as young as they can. And so that's a brilliant thing for the girls' football and women's football. The national team qualifying was a big thing for everybody in Scotland, I would think.
Yeah, that's a brilliant point. So which takes me on to the next question, Ian. Then, do you see much difference in the boys and versus the girls' game? What would your views on your differences? What you've seen, obviously being involved in the men's game and now in the women's game.
I would say the main point. I would say the men's game is a little bit quicker. It is the tackles flying a bit more. But the girls' game is more based on passing, trying to get the ball up. There's a lot better in passing in the girls' game, I would say. The boys' game is more rush. Try to score, hard tackles put in. Whereas the girls' game isn't. It's more about the passing. It's more finesse about it. That was probably a big thing for me when I first started. I was a bit unsure about the women's football when I first started. I thought it's a bit slow. It's I don't know how I'm going to get on with this. With some of the juniors, for example, heading the ball was a big no. Nobody wanted to header the ball, and actually I still see that in even up to the Premier team. There's not many headers.
Yeah.
There's not many crosses put in and somebody bullets on a header.
Yeah.
That's probably one big thing I would think about it.
Yeah. No, definitely. That's another good point. I would agree with you in regards to the quickness compared to both. I do believe in my experience that I think girls listen better.
Yes.
And they take things on board. The girls are really they love to hear what you have to speak. Some of them will soak up that information that you take as a sponge. And some boys players or men's players will just, hey, coach, when are we playing this game at the end? Or I hope we're not doing drills tonight at training or whatever it may be. And they just want to go straight into the football. So, yeah, I think those points are very valid for sure. And then, so what have you done? What have you and your team done during lockdown? Because it's bound to have affected your league preparations and the way things were going for you.
Well, we were obviously just starting our season. We'd only played one league game, which we did win. So we were then preparing for a Scottish Cup game the following week against Glenrothes. Then Friday, all of a sudden, the Friday afternoon, it was all football is suspended for indefinite. So that was a bit of a shock. To be honest, I thought it would have lasted 3 weeks maybe, and we'd get back into it. But that's not the case now. I think it's week 10 or 11 now. Can't quite remember. So the girls, I know, will be absolutely gutted about it because this was their season. They were they were right up for it. They were going to try on to win the league. They were going to try to go far in cup competitions. We'd had a brilliant pre-season. We played some really top teams. We played some national performance teams. We'd actually won against them. So the girls were really, really looking forward to the season when this pandemic hit us. So I know they'll be sitting there twiddling their thumbs and wondering when they're going to get back, because I know it's not good for everybody. They haven't even been probably allowed to go out and train. They've just probably had to do stuff in the back garden. I've tried to put on the Facebook page that we're on. I tried at the beginning. I did a few videos of things with the rebounder, what we could do with a rebounder. Mm-hmm. I put on other things that I got off of Twitter or Facebook, or little sessions that they could do with either a partner or with themselves. So I hope they tried all of them. We did the Keepy Up challenge, which was a good fun with the Keepy Up. How many Keepy Ups could we do in 30 seconds? Left foot, right foot, head, etc., etc. And I encouraged them to post it up on the page so I could see them doing it. Mm-hmm. We also done the toilet roll challenge, which was a big laugh, and
that was flying about everywhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We did that, and everybody seemed to enjoy that, and they thought it was brilliant. And then obviously we were invited by yourself to do the interactive sessions, the Tim's session on a Thursday night and Johnny's session on a Tuesday night. I've had really good numbers at that. I've got 15 girls of a squad, and I've had 10 or 11 every single session. So I'm very pleased that they are doing that. I actually had a message this morning from a parent asking me what was going to be happening next week, as they knew that the sessions were finishing tonight, and was there anything planned for next week, as they were really enjoying it. So that's a big bonus for Tim and Johnny's sessions.
Yeah, it's also nice to have coaches at that pedigree to come in for us, even though it's a bit improvised and we're doing it through video now. But I guess for me, and probably yourself, it's been a great learning tool. There has been, the negatives have outweighed the positives, but I do believe the under 15s coming in with the Prem and the 19s team and then working together, albeit via Zoom, I think it's been a great way to keep us connected. I think it's a great way for the under 15s, although a bit shy, to see the senior players train and see what they do and just see the commitment levels. And I think you would agree, the interactive sessions that we've filled the calendar with and try to keep us into some kind of the new normal, is what they say, the new normal in brackets. The 15s deserve great credit for their application to that. So is that what you're saying? So you've been creative. You've had to be creative. You've looked on social media, obviously, the Twitter, the Facebook. You know, you've followed some top coaches and what they've been doing. You've obviously interacted your team in with the Prem sessions as well. You know, and how else do you educate yourself now, Ian? Because it has to be difficult for a coach in this time, whenever you get seeing your girls on a weekly basis 2 or 3 times a week and then you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the first couple of weeks, I must admit, I had been busy. Pre-season was pretty hectic. I then was helping out with the Prem team on a Thursday night and the few Sunday games that we had. So the first couple of weeks, I must admit, I thought, I just had a big sigh. I thought, yeah, it's a wee bit of a holiday here, but I'll get back in a couple of weeks. But now, I must admit, I'm needing back now. I'm missing it so much. I mean, our training sessions were always well attended. Always had all 15 were there on a Monday night at Station Park. They were all there, and never ever had a girl that missed the Monday night sessions unless they were ill.
Yeah.
Thursday night sessions, again, we did it in Marketmuir. I maybe got 12 out of the 15. A few did drop off. I think the surface in the Marketmuir put a few people off pre-season, wind, rain, etc. Whereas the the 3G surface at Station Park, you knew you were going to get on. You knew there was going to be no mud. They absolutely love that there. They love it there. They do their passing. They're good at passing. They know that the ball's not going to bobble. Whereas the Market Muir, and I know it's a great facility to have, but it is a wee bit bobbly at times. And so yeah, not having a Tuesday night, a Monday night, a Thursday night, and a Saturday morning is a big miss. And the Saturday morning, I still get up and I still look at who we're playing today, and then go, oh, nobody.
yeah, it's been definitely, and I would suppose that, like us all, we just take things for granted in your lifestyle. You obviously have a family, you're obviously you're a businessman, self-employed businessman. Then you've got the football, and you probably just find your calendar is just from Monday through Sunday. You don't really know what day it is, and then all of a sudden, boom, this pandemic sort of just guns everything down, and the next thing you know, week 11, as you say, and we're raring to go, and we don't really appreciate just how much football affects our daily life.
No, exactly. I mean, the weather being so really, really good. Before the season started, the weather was awful. First couple of games, wind, rain, games off. And then, boom, since then we've had nearly 10 weeks of dry weather, really nice weather. Would have been brilliant to play in. Summer football advocate I am. I really like the summer football as well. Hardly any games off, and then all of a sudden nothing. And as I say, maybe not so much for me. I really think the girls will be really struggling with it, because they'll be thinking, I'm missing a whole season, as we could do, as it's looking likely there will be no youth football in 2020. So I mean, the 15s, they've had a full season at 11-a-side. Some of the other youth teams have maybe just started. I think it's going to hit them a lot harder. I think a lot of people will probably drop out because they've not had the football. I hope not, but I can see that happening. Mm-hmm. And I hope my 15s have actually been keeping themselves going by maybe doing the odd run or the odd session themselves, just to try to keep themselves in shape, because when we come back, I hope to be right back into it and not having to do a wee 4 to 6 week pre-season again.
Yeah, and I think the Scottish doctor, I think, has recommended that. And as we're recording this Zoom podcast, so to speak, I'm sure Nicola is just about to release a statement now. Is it 12:30? So she's probably doing it now. So at the time of this, after this, we might get good news, and we might resort back to some kind of training, whether that be socially distancing type of training with our teams, and at least that would be the first step of trying to get back to some kind of normal.
Yes, hopefully we can do that in the at least next 2 to 3 weeks, because I think we could easily do that. We could take small groups of 5 or 6 girls with a couple of coaches, and maybe 30 minutes each coach, and then swap each other around. So we have got the area at Market Muir where we could, all the youth teams, we could put in a timetable for everybody, and everybody gets a night or an evening or a Saturday or Sunday where they can get some sort of training done.
Yeah, and the fact that the kids are not at school, we need to get them doing something, don't we? So we need to get them out there.
Yeah, well, trying to homeschool is not easy, Ryan, I can tell you.
Yeah, and again, that's something, a new skill as you as a coach has probably found out, that just how difficult it is to be a teacher, a dad, a football coach, and trying to wear these hats, these many hats, and I'm sure that's been a big learning curve for you as well.
Oh, exactly. The homeschooling is not my bag. I'll give you that now. It's you sit there, you turn away for a minute, and they're doing something that they shouldn't be. So it's obviously my wife Claire's a teacher, so I know What's just to put up with day in, day out now.
Yeah, and it takes us on that we've got 2 more questions left of it. It's been really, really good. So one of the questions you sort of came on board with myself in the Prem team. So, how have you felt when you've been in the Prem team environment, and has it been good for your self-education as a coach? Do you think it's been beneficial to you? And again, I know it's hard, obviously, because I'm asking that question, so I sort of have to cover my ears if it hasn't been a good experience. But you've done a great job throughout the club, and I think, and again, we're not just saying that because we've videoed and we've built up a good relationship since I've been at the club, but you're one of the coaches who is very passionate about the women's game, and you love Farmington. It's plain to see. So how has that been for you in trying to do 15s and then be with the Prem as well?
If I've been honest, I really, really love that 15s team. I am so passionate about that team. There is so many good players in there that I want to push through, that I want to get up to the 19s and get into your team. If I'm being honest, before you came, I only seen myself as a youth coach. I was comfortable at that level. I knew I could do that level. I knew I could improve players. I could push them up to the next level. I've seen from under 11s. I've had players from 10-year-old that I still have got, and they're maybe 15 now. I've seen them improve so much in that time. So I knew I could do that, and I was quite comfortable staying at that level. And then when you asked me to come on board and give you a wee help here and there, I must admit I was a little bit dubious. I thought, can I do this? Are the girls going to take to me? Are they going to see me as, what's he doing here? He's just the youth coach. He's just a 15s coach. Well, why is he here? Mm-hmm. And I must admit, I did find that difficult. Mm-hmm. I was quiet at the start. I kind of just took it all in at the first few training sessions. Mm-hmm. I watched what you did. I watched what Kenny and Claire did. And you kind of threw me in at the deep end by saying, right, Ian, I want you to take the warm-up, and I think you told me on the Thursday night, and you're taking the warm-up on the Sunday. And I was like that, whoa. But I actually got through that. I did the warm-up, and since then, I've been gaining more and more confidence. Mm-hmm. Again, at the Motherwell game at Ravenscraig, I took the warm-up. I actually said a few things in the dressing room, and I was starting to get my feet under the table, if so.
I can remember that warm up. Yeah, I can remember that warm up at Ravenscraig, and I remember you coming over to me and going, "I feel good. I've got a really good feeling. The girls are sharp." And I have to admit that Ravenscraig warm up. I remember the Motherwell first team coming in to train before us, so we didn't have the space. We didn't have a normal warm-up routine as if we had it at Station Park. So, I remember watching going, flip, the big man's doing well here, and he's got them sharp. And I remember that, and I think that was the day that you really came into your own. And what was that, maybe 4 weeks or 5 weeks into maybe the season?
Yeah, definitely was. That was the day when, as you say, Motherwell had the pitch. There was no area of the pitch left. The referee said we're going to be starting in 30 minutes, and we just grabbed a slice of the pitch and said we're having this. And basically the warm-up was truncated. It wasn't as big an area as we would have liked, but we did get them going. We got them up for the game. The girls were up for the game that day, and that was definitely the day when I felt more at home. I felt, this is it. Some of the girls asked me a few questions, and like that, they're asking me a question. I must be part of this now.
Yeah. No, and it's great, and it's also great for your 15s to see that their coach is highly respected within the club, and you will see what the Prem team does, and you'd obviously bring back some of that experience and add that to your 15s players whenever they are doing that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've done. I've actually looked at some of the sessions that you've put on, Nick Kenny's put on, and I've replicated it within my own group. And I've said to them, look, this is a Premier team training session. This is what they do. So this is what we're going to do. And it's going to get you a bit of experience for when you do go up there and train with some of the senior players.
Yeah, and some of your players actually have trained with the senior players, haven't they? We done a fun training session and we brought up some of the players on a Sunday. I think we had a free week.
Yeah, that's right. I think we had 2 or 3 of them came up and were involved with the senior players, and they really enjoyed it, and they were really pleased to be asked. I think that they then realised that they had a chance to push on and try to get into the setup.
And do you think that's important, Ian, in regards to not just Farmington, but in regards to any aspiring youth female footballer having that opportunity to progress through the ranks and hopefully play for our hometown club and gain that affinity, so we don't lose them to a Hearts or a Hibs or Rangers or Celtic?
Oh, definitely. We need to try to give them the encouragement that if you're good enough and if you work hard, you will be seen and you will be able to play in that team. I mean, I know a lot of my girls are dedicated. They do want to play in the team. They've already said to me they want to play in that with Farmington and in there. They don't want to have to leave. They don't want to have to travel 50 miles up to Aberdeen or 60 or 70 miles down to Edinburgh to play in a performance team. They want to play with their mates, and they want to push on and get into the setup. Yeah. If that means that they need to move up to 19s, I've done my job. I've done my job if they move up into the 19s, because I'm not going to hold them back at 15s if it's too easy for them. They need to push up to the 19s. And then the same with the 19s. The 19s then need to push up to the Prem team. Some of the 13s, again, are too good. They need to push up to the 15s, even if it's a year or two early. We've got to challenge these players. There's no point in them being easy, being able to run the length of the pitch and score 10 goals in a game. That's not challenging for them. It's far too easy for them. And we need to challenge these players at every opportunity, whether that be 10-year-old or whether that be 25-year-old.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I think, again, another great point that you've made, and we see it over the boys and the male game, where good players who are sticking out in their age group get moved up to make them uncomfortable, to see how they react, to see how their attitude is when they go against older players. And I think that's something that's missing in the female game. Maybe it's coming, and again, it's that one where we're starting to find our own feet. The girls' game's definitely starting to progress, but it's a good point. And some coaches in general, and again, I was one of them when I was a young cub, just going through the coaching selection. You know, it was all about how many games can I win if I'm under 12 coach or under 14 coach. You know, it was very much egotistical. And it's my team, and this is what I'm going to do. I was one of those coaches before, but unfortunately, we need to change the mindset. And the common goal is to get our players moving up the levels, whether that be under 11s to under 12s, whether that be under 15s to 19s, whether that be 19s to senior. And then the next goal after that, if they make Premiership or high level standard of football, to represent their country. Definitely.
I mean, I was like that before I came in as well into Farmington. I was definitely like that. This is my team, these are my players, and you're not getting them, sort of thing. Yeah. But then I did a few workshops with Sam Millen from the SFA, who kind of opened my eyes on a few things, actually. And so I tried to follow them, the things that were in the workshops, and, you know, tried to push up the girls up to a better standard. If they were too good for my team, they moved on to the next team. And I still try to do that now at the training. I'll pair off the weaker girls will train together, whereas the stronger players will try to, be matched up against one another to try to give them a bit, make them a bit better, give them a challenge sort of thing. Whereas there's no point in having a weak player with a strong player. There's nothing there for any of the two of them.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point. Last question then. You've done the road to Hampden.
Yes.
Over the last month. How's that been for you?
Well, I've done it every day, obviously. I haven't missed a day. We've only got 4 days left. 5k a day, whether that be on my bicycle, which I've done a few times, or whether that be on a walking the dog, or walking with Claire. I'm glad there's only 4 days left. I've got a few aches and pains, let's just say. Yeah, so as a family, we've all done it. We've never missed a day so far. The girls are maybe saying, "Oh, can we not give this one a miss today?" And nope, you're coming with us today. We've only 4 to go. So yeah, it's been good for the club. It's given the club a bit of, what would I say? It's given the club a bit of focus. It's tried to bring everybody together. Tried to see what we're doing. Tried to do some fundraising for obviously the national health and national health charities within the area. So I think it's been good for the club that way.
Yeah, and it's kept us all active and over this time. And as you say, the weather has been absolutely amazing. And pre-season for me, whenever I got my sort of baptism of fire in Farmington, was I came to Fulford and it did nothing but rain, snow, 2 or 3 outrageous storms to deal with, and then as soon as we went to lockdown, it's been probably 16 degrees plus with sun splitting the trees. But no, Ian, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure doing the first one, and I think we've nailed it. I don't think we've had too many stoppages or anything like that. So once we get it stopped, hopefully we can show this to our guys, to our club, and people watch it, and then we'll identify the next target to see what their experiences are on it. So Ian, thanks very much for joining me, and have a lovely day.
It's a pleasure. Thanks very much, Ryan.
Brilliant.